Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another episode of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys spending some time with me checking out the video today. Out here on a very snowy day, Stockton Lake, Missouri. Actually out here doing an on the water jerkbait lesson today. And I wanted to do a video today on low water conditions. Here at Stockton Lake right now, the water, as you can see up on the bank here, it's probably about 7 or 8 feet low. And I've got a really nice bank behind me here that I want to talk about and show some type of areas that the fish use during low water conditions. All year long, really. I mean, most of the time when you have low water, it's in the fall time of the year or sort of winter time like this. But there are certain things to look for when you're fishing lower water. So we're just going to take a walk down this bank, and I'm going to show you some key features to look for during the time that the water's low. So here we go. Okay guys, we're going to take a walk down this bank here. I'm going to show you what to look for as far as catching fish, some tips and advice on when you're fishing during lower water conditions. Now there's a couple different considerations. First of all, your water clarity is going to be a prime consideration in terms of how deep these fish are going to be. Now in general, this is just a general rule of thumb, if you've got water visibility that is less than 3 feet deep, even if the water temperature is cold, like it's 45 degrees here at Stockton Lake right now, the water temperature, and most of the fish we're catching today are in less than 5 feet of water because our water visibility is less than 3 feet. So some of the key areas on this are going to be like, if you look down this bank here, you can see a little indentation on the bank right there, and then you've got a nice little rounded point that comes in right here leading into this cut. Now this little rounded point that we're talking about here, even this is subtle, this is going to be a key area right here. So that's a high percentage area, so when you get into these type of areas, slow down. Now another thing to remember is when you have low water, if you look at these bank indentations up here like this is like just probably a 20 or 30 yard of an indentation. Most of the time this is going to be indicative of a little bit deeper water in that cut right there. So a lot of times those fish are going to hold in and around that cut because of the drop off. And as you move to this point right here, this rounded point, it's going to be shallower out on the point, so the fish could be a little bit farther out. And then obviously out on the main lake point, entering any cove out there is going to be a prime location. Guys, here's some realities about fishing during lower water, especially in the cold water months. There's sort of a paradox involved here, because one of the things you're going to find is when the water drops, I don't care if it's in the fall time of the year or the winter time of the year, you've got two different populations of fish that are going to react to that dropping water. Number one, if you've got fish that live in shallower water, 50% of the fish will live in 10 foot or less water all year long, regardless of the water temperature or the water clarity. When that water starts dropping, those fish will actually move shallower. It doesn't really make sense because a lot of people sort of have the mindset if the water drops, the fish are going to move out deeper with it. That's not the case all the time. I have found in my own fishing, and it was proven true today here on Stockton Lake, is when they pull the water down and when the water gets lower, a lot of fish move super, super shallow. Some of the fish we caught today were in like 2 or 3 feet of water. Water temperature 45 degrees. Now those are the fish that are living in shallow water, sort of like that population of fish. They do their own thing. They live in shallow water. They hold, on various different structures, rock transitions. Sometimes they're on chunk rock, sometimes they're on gravel. It varies day to day with that. Then you have a different population of fish when the water level's low that move out a little bit deeper and suspend. Now, if you've got water temperatures, say anywhere between 40 to 50 degrees, and you have low water conditions, and you have water visibility of over 3 feet, you're going to have a pretty big population of fish that are suspending in those low water conditions. So let's say, for example, on this bank that we're looking at from behind here, let's say if we had 4 or 5 foot of water visibility, a lot of those fish are going to be suspended out deeper off the end of these banks here. They're going to be suspended, like you can see this point right here. They're going to be suspended deeper off the point. That's just the nature of what fish do in clear water in the wintertime when they pull the lake down. But overall, guys, the things that you have to remember with that is that you just sort of have to let the lake and the conditions and the day dictate how you fish when the water's low out there. Bass fishing is a little bit different every day out there. A lot of it has to do with the sky conditions. Say, for example, cloudy, snowy right now. A lot of times it's going to make those fish a little bit more active, a little bit more aggressive. They're going to be biting better in shallow water. But if we had a day out here today where there was a bluebird sky, not much wind, I wouldn't look for those fish to be up shallow the way we're catching them here today in the low water. So one of the things to remember, and I think this is one of those things that busts myths a little bit in fishing, is even though you've got low water and cold water in the wintertime, the fish will still be shallow. A lot of people don't believe that, and a lot of people have never experienced that, but try it. If the lake that you fish has less than 3 foot of visibility, we've got about 2 foot of visibility here on Stockton Lake. I don't care if the water's 40 degrees or whatever, if you've got low water, cold water like that, less than 3 feet of visibility, try fishing shallow water. That's going to really, produce a lot more than what you think. And vice versa, as the water gets clear, colder, something like that, you're going to have a little bit deeper population of fish. A lot of it also depends on the species of fish that you're fishing for. If the lake that you fish has a mixed species, like a largemouth spotted bass and smallmouth bass, it's more conducive to having fish suspending out in deeper water when the water's low. If you have a lake like Stockton Lake that has a larger largemouth population, you're naturally going to have a larger shallow water population of fish. But another reason I like fishing during low water conditions is the entire lake fishes better. You're apt to catch one anywhere. Like, for example, when you pull back in this cove right here that we're fishing, you can just literally go anywhere back in here, even to the back, and you're apt to catch one. When you have low water conditions in the fall time of the year, the fish will disperse, they'll scatter out a lot. They're feeding on a variety of different forage. Some fish are still feeding on crawdads, some are feeding on maybe some creek chub minnows, some are on threadfin shad, whatever they have. And a lot of times they can be in different depth ranges. I'll give you guys a prime example. We're catching fish today in 3 to 5 foot of water that I haven't seen any evidence of bait fish. So obviously they're feeding maybe on some crawdads. Yet also I've seen some fish out in 10 to 15 feet of water with the shad balls, but those are not black bass. They're either crappie or white bass, that type of stuff. So every situation is different on that. So just a few thoughts with that. Take advantage of it. Low water is probably my favorite time to fish, simply because you can see a lot more of the bank cover. You can see the rock transitions better, and there's not as many places for them to hide. That's one of the reasons I like to fish during low water. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys are well. We'll talk later.